Nashville. You want good barbecue and some good music to listen to, boy, that ESPN per diem is going to be well spent from Wayne Nelson's tech crew in about an hour there when we get out of here. But first, you don't want to go anywhere because it is now time for our main event. Worlds colliding. A Mexican and a South African meeting up in Nashville. Fernando Beltran and Takalani Ndlovu in a featherweight clash. There's Fernando Beltran, 27 years old, 33-1, 18 knockouts. In April, the Mexican southpaw lost a 12-round decision challenging 122-pound IBF champ Steve Molitor. You can see most of his work in Mexico. This will be his 8th fight in the U.S. The title shot happened north of the border. Here is 30-year-old South African Takalani Ndlovu, 28-4, 18 knockouts. He was TKO'd by Molitor in a title shot a year ago. So they have the common opponent, both men coming up short. This will be his 4th fight in the U.S., most of his work done in his native country of South Africa. Well, with Teddy Atlas soon to return home from the Olympics, Shannon Briggs has the fight plan sponsored by AutoZone.
All right, Fernando Beltran, he has to work the jab, ride the wave, take what's given, just score points, man. Takalani, start quick, attack the body. It's a 12-round fight, man. Take the legs away.
Ndlovu and Beltran. Ndlovu is ranked by the IBF number 4 at 122 pounds. This fight here is being contested at featherweight. Ndlovu has gone back and forth between junior feather and featherweight. Now he wants to stay at 126.
Protect yourselves at all times. Listen, obey my commands. Touch gloves. Let's have a clean fight.
Clay Huddleston, the referee, and they're scheduled for 12. Fernando Beltran has actually fought for 2 world titles as he goes up against Ndlovu tonight.
Doc.
From the tapes, Joe, I can tell you already, I like this fight.
Why is that, Shannon?
I just, just looking at these guys' former fights, I like this fight. Both guys, tough guys, who've been around a while. They have a lot of experience. I think this could be a good one.
Both guys obviously well experienced. Both guys have had their chance at the top. For Beltran, who you see comes out in that southpaw stance, he lost a 12-round decision to WBO 122-pound champion Joan Guzman back in April 2005, and that was a close fight. In fact, Beltran rallied very late in that fight, dropping the decision. Then he most recently went the decision against Steve Molitor. Steve Molitor TKO'd Takalani Ndlovu.
Yeah, both guys have a similar opponent. Both guys, tough guys. They have a lot of experience. This could be a good one. It's definitely a very technical fight at its worst.
See Takalani trying to counter against that right jab of the Mexican southpaw.
And a lot of times you see guys get very confused by fighting southpaws, but he's doing the right thing, using the jab. A lot of people say use that right hand. You definitely want to do that, but there's nothing wrong with establishing that jab, even with a southpaw.
They call that the southpaw killer, the right hand of the orthodox fighter. But what is lesson number 1 in your eyes? I mean, you've had lots of trainers. You've come through the amateur ranks. You've been in the gym with guys starting off, guys at the top of their game. What is the one thing, if you have to say, hey, when you fight a southpaw, do this?
I'd say, first of all, just don't let it get you out of your game plan. As far as, don't overrate it. Don't get too much caught up on fighting southpaw. Use that jab. My trainer, Chuck McGregor, always tell me, Shannon, use the jab against the southpaw. That whole right hand thing came late in the 70s, 80s, but in the old days, guys would just hit him with a jab like anybody else.
There's a right hand to the body from Beltran against Takalani.
Takalani can't let that southpaw style confuse him. He has to show him that, I don't really care that you're southpaw. I'm going to work you over regardless. And for Beltran, he has to be busy. Just like that. He has to step up to the plate, come behind that jab, and step up.
And now both men firing off their backhands. Takalani coming forward with the right hand moments ago. Two well-experienced veterans, world title challengers, meeting in an important fight for each of their careers here if they want to continue moving forward. Clay Huddleston cleans up that action as Takalani gets his footing more secure underneath him. There's a left hand to the body from Beltran. Southpaw trying to pin the South African in that corner.
And you can see him, Joe, using that jab. He's usually consistent. Beltran is usually very consistent with his jab. Actually, he usually throws a lot more jabs than he's thrown in his first round.
And to round number one of our main event here on Friday Night Fights. Joe Tessitore and Shannon Briggs in for Teddy Atlas ringside here in Nashville. Round two of our scheduled 12-round main event. It's a good one. Fernando, Beltran, and Takalani and Ndlovu. And in that first round, Beltran had a 15-7 connect advantage. He's the southpaw there in the white trunks with that blue trim.
And it would serve him to go to that body. It would serve him to go to the body, Takalani. It would really help him if he started going into that body early, like I said in the opening. You know, it's a 12-round fight. He's got to get close the gap, and bang that body.
Beltran doubling up that jab and then sending the left hand to the body.
And Beltran has a very nice jab, Joe. It would serve him best to use a lot more jabs.
Gets the warning from Clay Huddleston, the referee, as that left hand straight towards the belt line. Doubles it up to get in. Didn't fire off the left hand that time.
What's odd, Joe, is that I thought that Beltran would actually be on the defensive and be boxing more, and that Takalani would be pressuring him. But it's the opposite. It seems like Beltran is using his jab and backing him up.
Well, both men have made changes in their corners. Takalani and Ndlovu switched from his trainer, also his manager was his father, to now Nick Durant, the veteran South African trainer. And the same with Beltran. He had his father in his corner. Now Pedro Moran works the corner. So potentially some stylistic changes to each guy that are showing up here early on. Of course, as you linger towards the deeper water of 12 rounds, veterans like this tend to retreat to what they know. See if that develops here.
This is true. And Durant's a guy who's been around a long time. I remember when I turned pro in '92, he had a guy, Kerry Stashabala. He worked with him. He also worked in Ray Mercer's camp, Roy Jones. He's been around a long time, a lot of experience. I think over 25 world champions. I think it serves Takalani to be closer with this with Beltran on the inside, opposed to standing outside. On the inside, Joe, the southpaw style is just, you know, neutral. It's nothing. So it would serve him best to be on the inside.
I don't know if you caught it earlier this evening, but we told you that Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band were playing here last night in this arena. That's not Stevie Van Zandt left over. That's Nick Durant in the corner of Takalani and Ndlovu.
Runs next to me.
Listening to his instructions.
Break the body. Come to the head. Put him on his back foot. He can't fight on his back foot. He can fight coming forward,
Shannon,
but he
you were
can't do
just
it on his
talking
back
about
foot.
the veteran Durant
Give me that shoulder,
and the career that
bend the
he's put
knees on,
forth.
just
He's worked
jabs on him
with
first.
so many solid
Body
South
and head.
African fighters throughout his long career. Trains over 50 pro fighters in South Africa. Some very familiar names in divisions that we've seen, the lower weight classes. Silence Mabuza, two-time bantamweight world title challenger. Philip Endo, of course, 96 Olympian, challenged for the world title at 135 pounds.
Stay there. No, when the bell goes, the stool comes out, boss.
Ndlovu, who made the trainer change from his dad to Nick Durant.
He's been around a long time. I spoke to him earlier, Joe, and he said, you know, I even helped Rockman out when he beat Lewis in South Africa.
That was it was a 20-1 underdog that night.
Exactly, wow.
Lennox was off filming Ocean's 11 rather than training.
And that's what he told me. He said Lennox took him lightly. He said that Rockman that came in early, he worked in high altitude, and he stepped up, and he won it. Became heavyweight champion in the world.
Beltran with an 18-8 connect advantage over Takalani in that last round. You know, so many times we see a trainer change, Shannon, happen after a guy loses a world title fight. Somebody's going to get blamed. Fighter doesn't want to look within himself. But talk to me. I mean, you've gone through trainers throughout your career. What you mean by that? What you mean? How does a fighter go through that process of saying, okay, it's time to go in a different direction here. I need somebody else in my corner.
I don't know. I usually get dumped by the trainer, but you know, it happens.
What was wrong with the way I framed that? Was that?
yeah. Watch that, Joe. Okay. You know, listen. It happens. Like you said, a lot of guys don't want to look within themselves, and they tend to blame the trainers. Sometimes it's just, you know, you need to hear a different voice. You know, sometimes like a parent, like a child becomes tone deaf to a parent. Sometimes you just need to hear a different voice. They're motivated, you know, new motivation. And sometimes it's not even a loss. It's not personal. It's just that you're human. You need change.
Such is the case here between these two, Fernando Beltran and Takalani Ndlovu. Action here in the third round. And it's actually, Shannon, one of the interesting points as we're talking a lot about the failures of the U.S. Olympic team, only coming out with a bronze medal out of the Beijing Games. But it's one of the points that's been brought up in talking about what's wrong with USA boxing, and that is that you're a young amateur. You have your amateur coach who knows you inside and out. He's taught you everything that you know about this sport. Brings you right up to the pinnacle of making Team USA, and then you get turned over to the Team USA trainers and coaches, and you're isolated and separated from your amateur coach.
That's right. And a lot of times, you know, the coaches that they pick for the Olympics are the guys that's kind of inset a year, and you know, basically embedded a year or two. They know who they're going to pick. And sometimes they don't even like the guys that's on the Olympic team that make the team. I was one of those guys who, after I won the United States Championship in 92, I wasn't a favorite. It was my hair. They talked about my hair. I was a New York City guy. Was projected an attitude that I didn't have, but just being from New York with my hairstyle, you know, I wasn't a favorite. So it can definitely be a problem, I believe.
And of course, that relationship between trainer and fighter is so critically important, especially at those learning stages when many of those young amateurs are just getting to the pinnacle of the world stage in the U.S. Olympics. So that's another point to really focus in on when we talk about what we want to change with USA boxing. Maybe they should go with their own trainers and coaches throughout. More to come on Friday Night Fights from Nashville.
Brian Kenny here in the studio, Sports Center right now, and bad news for the Chargers and their all-pro linebacker and rushman, Sean Merriman. He tells the San Diego Union Tribune he has a torn ligament in his knee. Haven't made any decision as to what's going to happen for Merriman this season as of yet. And the NFL announcing that there will be a moment of silence in all preseason games this weekend for Gene Upshaw, Hall of Fame offensive lineman and longtime Union chief. Joe?
Thank you.
Thanks, BK. Our 12-round main event. That's Takalani and Ndlovu, 30-year-old, 28-4. In July of 2007, he was TKO'd when he fought for the 122-pound world title at the hands of Steve Molitor. Fernando Beltran, who stands opposite him, the southpaw Mexican veteran. He also fought Molitor, lost a 12-round decision this past April. He's fought for the world title twice at 122 pounds. Now both of these veterans settling in at the featherweight limit, just 4 pounds north.
What I look for, Joe, in a fight like this is I look to see who's more weather beaten. I want to see both guys have been around. Both guys have been in some tough fights. Both fought Molitor. I kind of want to see these guys go head to head and see who's more weather beaten, who can take it. They've both been knocked out. You know, see who has what left.
All right? Box. One more's a point. Box.
Nice jab by Takalani.
Straight left hand was just off the mark from Beltran.
And Joe, from what I watched with Takalani, he looks like a guy who gets to the door, knocks on the door, gets there, then he stops. He needs to be a little bit more aggressive. He needs to push this guy back, push Beltran backwards, and see what he can do. Nice body shot from Beltran. Two cagey guys. Both cagey. You can tell from the inside work. Both guys relaxed. I like that. When I look at a guy's face and see his temperament, he's relaxed, he's calm in the ring. It shows his experience.
Minutes ago here in round 4. 1-2 from Beltran. Very important fight for both of these gentlemen. Looking to rebound, coming off their title challenge losses. And both men ranked by the IBF in the top 10. So it'd be a nice notch on the belt. And there's a right hand from Ndlovu.
There's that jab from Beltran. He has a good jab too, Joe. There it is again. He has a good jab. He needs to be more consistent with it.
Shannon, the difference between a good jab and an okay jab in your eyes, what do you look for?
A guy's straight jab. I mean, locks at the end. You got those, jabs that, which are good at times.
At the end,
that's right. At the end, it locks at the end. It's a popping jab. Moves the head back. That's a stiff jab.
Snuck in a right hand to the body during that exchange to Beltran. Moments ago, Nick Durant said this to Takalani.
He's got the fight so far.
How many rounds?
He's got about 3 rounds. We need to get on top of him now, okay? Kill the body, come to the head. Don't wait on him. Don't wait on him.
So there's the veteran cornerman, Nick Durant, as we are a third of the way through, scheduled for 12, and he just freely says, Shannon, to his fighter Takalani and Ndlovu, that you're losing the fight.
Yeah.
Beltran has at least 3 rounds, and your scorecard agrees with that assessment. If you have it 3 rounds to 1 for the Mexican southpaw.
Yeah, and he, just like I said earlier, he needs to go to the body. He needs to kill that body. Beltran doesn't look too solid. Looks can be deceiving, but he doesn't look too solid around the flank. So I think he needs to go down to the body and then slow him down. This guy's a jabber. He can move, but he needs to take his legs. He needs to be more aggressive.
Shannon, throughout your career, when at different phases throughout the fight, you would want to get assessments from your trainer and your lead cornerman there. Do you like that kind of honesty? Were you the kind of guy that wanted to hear the cheerleading, or are you the kind of guy that wants 4 rounds in to hear that you're losing the fight 3 rounds to 1?
Honesty, of course. But what I look for, Joe, is I look for my trainer to tell me what the other guy's doing. If a guy's hitting me with a jab or he's setting me up for something, I love for my corner to be able to observe and say, look, he's landing this jab, he's landing this hook, and this is the reason why.
So does that serve you at all, or do you want instruction? Like you're saying you want assessment and instruction. Does your trainer giving you the scores in his eyes help you at all? Does it serve you?
Definitely. When I fought Lajakovic, I was behind on points on every scorecard, and my corner, Milton LaCroix and Chuck McGregor told me, they said, listen, you're losing a fight. This is it. Put it all out, and that's what I did. And I take to this day, if it wasn't for that great corner work, I wouldn't have became 2-time heavyweight champion of the world.
Shannon Briggs sitting in with us ringside here is Teddy Atlas. Will be back next week after working the Olympic Games in China. Of course, Teddy Atlas, for early on in your career, was the guy giving you the instruction in your corner.
Yeah, exactly. Teddy's back next week, and I'm back pumping gas.
Hardly. Both men trying to go to the body here.
I think both guys see the importance of a win here tonight. This is a great platform fight here on ESPN, and these guys know how important it is and how a win here tonight can propel them back in. Great right hand counter by Takalani.
And now Takalani comes forward after scoring well. Beltran took it well. Coming to the end of 5, our main event on Friday Night Fight. It's time now for the Most Dangerous Punch, brought to you by Bangkok Dangerous, in theaters September 5th. July 18th, Yuriorkis Gamboa against Al Seeger. Boy, this was something to enjoy. Most Dangerous Punch took place in Prim, Nevada, from Yuriorkis Gamboa. What a star he has turned out to be. One of the most exciting fighters in the game. Young, unbeaten, Olympic gold medalist from Cuba. And he has thrilled us on Friday Night Fights this year with 2 sensational early knockouts. Highlight grabber Yuriorkis Gamboa, round number 6 here in our main event. Fernando Beltran, Takalani, Ndlovu. Beltran enjoyed a 21-16 advantage in the 5th round. High connect totals actually for both men as they picked up the pace. Shannon Briggs' scorecard has Beltran up 48-47, and you can see that they are both putting forth a heavier output early on here in round number 6.
Yeah, both guys digging in, both working. Durant's pep talk in the corner, Joe. I think he really, made a mark with Takalani. He's being more aggressive. He's being more busy now.
Nope. Step back. Come on. Box.
And that's what he has to do. He has to close the gap with the southpaw, stay right there on the inside. They say a southpaw is not a southpaw on the inside, so that's what he needs to do. Stay right there, stay in his chest. Beltran be smarter to box, use a jab. I told you earlier he has a good jab. He's not using it right now. He has a long jab, too. He needs to get back on the outside.
Right. Step back. Box. Hands off his neck.
Mouthpiece came loose after that right hand landed from Beltran.
Quick, coach. Let's go. Now. Time in.
30-year-old South African native Takalani Ndlovu, just his 4th fight in the United States. Had won 6 in a row, including a TKO over Richard Castillo, Jose Luis Castillo's brother, before he was TKO'd when he fought for the world title at 122 pounds last July.
And speaking earlier, Joe, when I spoke to Durant in the hotel, he told me that this kid trains up in altitude, so we'll see if that makes a difference in the fight.
You've learned your craft very well in 3 weeks of being on the job because you get great information in those hotel lobbies.
Oh, I'm telling you, right?
Some of the best research for a broadcast happens in those hotel lobbies.
With Teddy coming back, I'm getting my squeegee ready. So if anyone sees me at the light.
I'm going to see you at the Lincoln Tunnel.
That's right.
You're going to be enjoying life. I know you lived a good life with your beautiful family who we visited with last week. And you've talked about making a comeback.
Yeah, well, definitely. I'm going to do that. I have a great team behind me. Corey Roberson, Paulo Moreno, the guys are really, backing me and helping me get everything ready. I got a great team out of Dallas. Those guys are really supporting me and really putting a lot behind this comeback and me becoming 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. You did hear that, Joe.
I heard it. Takalani and Ndlovu and Fernando Beltran heating it up as we come to the halfway point of our scheduled 12th rounder and a check-in with Brian Kenny.
All right, Joe Shannon. Fight fans know George Chuvalo, a talented Canadian heavyweight who fought Ali, Foreman, Frazier, and Floyd Patterson. On SportsCenter, 10:30 Eastern this Sunday morning, they will have a long chronicle of his tragic life after the ring.
I wish my sons could be here, my sons who aren't here on earth, just for 20 seconds. Collectively, they would tell you that doing drugs is insane. They would tell you that doing drugs is like hating yourself. Honest to God, it's like hating yourself. And you don't want to hate yourself. You want to love yourselves. You want to love yourselves.
In the 12 years since he began, George estimates that he has given this talk and relived the deaths of his wife and sons more than 1,000 times.
My son died the same day, by the way, as River Phoenix, dying in front of Vipers nightclub in Hollywood on a sunny afternoon, and my son dying at a grungy hotel in Toronto, 12 o'clock noon when they found his body.
So that feature piece will be coming up on SportsCenter this weekend on the tragedies in the life of George Chuvalo. It'll be very interesting to see that. I was fortunate enough to watch a good extensive portion of that, Shannon. I think it's well worth everybody's time.
Yeah, Chuvalo, such a tough guy. I love him, actually. I met him once, and I was amazed with how well-spoken and a very nice guy he is. But that's most fighters, to be honest with you. You rarely meet a fighter that's not a nice person.
Like yourself.
Thank you,
Shannon
sir.
Briggs in with us here for the past few weeks as Teddy Atlas is covering the Olympics. And Shannon's scorecard has the South African coming back the past couple rounds. 57-57, Ndlovu and Beltran. Ndlovu threw 70 punches in the 5th round, 89 in the 6th round. That after that reality check pep talk from Nick Durant. Remember a few rounds ago I said to you, do you like that? Do you like the reality check of being told you're down 3-1?
Definitely.
Well, apparently Takalani did like that.
he knows what's happening if he doesn't. So, it's great, man. It's great to have a cornerman like Durant. He has so much experience. You can just look at him from the side. He's just a guy that's so much into his fighter. He told me earlier he loves his fighters. He trains 40 to 50 guys at one time. How he does that, I don't know. But he's really, boxing is his life.
Sounds more like a horse trainer than a boxing trainer. A big stable there.
Let go.
I'm actually thinking about packing my bags and heading to South Africa. It's one of my routes, though.
You want to make the trip, Shannon?
Not going to happen. Yeah.
High altitude would serve you well.
For real, with these lungs.
Get those lungs burning up. Well, I know you obviously suffer from asthma. That's been well documented throughout your career, so I know you have to take that very serious. Of course, South Africa will be home to the biggest sporting event, 2010 World Cup.
That should be amazing.
Always is. ABC and ESPN have full coverage. There's a nice body shot with the right hand from Beltran.
Great body shot. And Takalani's backing him up, which is smart. Closing that gap, being smart.
Come on. Keep off his neck.
Both guys very, very experienced, very seasoned.
No, break. Step back. Come on.
Well, the plot will be thickening here between these veterans. Good right hand from Takalani coming to the end of 7.
Jack.
Friday night fights from Nashville. The remaining schedule next 2 weeks of Friday night fights. Cruiserweights Matt Godfrey and Emmanuel Nwodo will go at it next week. And then one of the most exciting young up-and-coming fighters, James Kirkland, will be in the main event to round out the Friday night fight season on September 5th. So please join us for the remaining 2 shows of the season. Of course, we will be back right after the new year for the first Friday night fight of 2009. Joe Tessitore and Shannon Briggs ringside. Round number 8. Fernando Beltran and Takalani Ndlovu. So glad to have the former light heavyweight champion, Olympic gold medalist Michael Spinks as our guest studio analyst tonight. Michael, what have you noticed in this fight?
What I've noticed, these guys are, they're really being hard on one another, trying to land land punches. But I think what they can do, I'm a firm believer in straight punches, and both of them can lead with their power hand, come back with left hooks or right hooks, being that one is left-handed, and just go from there. I think the stiff punches, the stiff straight punches would open up some shots for them.
Okay, hey Mike, listen, this is Shannon Briggs, your biggest fan ever, by the way.
Yeah, hey Shannon.
What's up, brother? Hey, listen, I want to ask you a question, Mike. Hey, okay. This whole Olympic issue, did you have your personal coach in Montreal?
No, we didn't. We had the coaches that were appointed to us, Pat Nappy and Sarge Johnson.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with Pat Nappy. He actually chose me to fight for the National PAL in 1990. Mike, do you think that the fighters should have their personal coaches?
No, I really don't think so. I think the coaches that they give you or that they have on the representing your boxing teams are qualified coaches. Unless they have lessened over the years. But we had 2 of the best coaches in amateur boxing. So I think that the coaches that they appoint to you are good coaches, good qualified coaches, I think.
Thanks, Michael. You're doing a great job tonight with Brian Kenny in studio. Michael Spinks, our guest studio analyst. Of course, I don't think it really mattered who the coaches were on that 76 team. That team was like the dream team of basketball.
Definitely.
For boxing back then. Of course, the 84 team was absolutely loaded too. But that 1976 team, I mean, they brought it home.
I think that was our best 2 teams ever.
Hard to argue, isn't it?
Definitely.
You look at what ended up you know what happened as amateurs with those groups, and then the 76 team with Sugar Ray Leonard, with Spinks, Howard Davis, and then 84.
Whitaker,
Holyfield, Taylor. I mean, just phenomenal top-level talent coming out of those 2 Olympic Games. Coming to the end of round number 8. They'll have 4 to go, Beltran and Ndlovu. Friday night fights in Nashville, Tennessee. First time we've been here to Sommet Center. Really nice-looking venue, and a good crowd has come out for Friday night fights. It's always nice to go to these parts of the country, Shannon, where they do not get the big televised fight nights like this, and you see the support that we get when we do come to a great sports town like this in Nashville. Round number 9 between Beltran and Ndlovu. Shannon's scorecard. South African surging ahead, 77-75 after that pep talk when he was told after round 4, as Shannon's card details that, hey, you're losing the fight, said his trainer.
And he really stepped up from that point on. Beltran knows that he's applying the pressure. Yeah, but like I said, both guys know this is a make it or break the fight, and they're putting it on the line. And it's a very technical, smart fight as well. You know, Joe, you mentioned earlier Kirkman coming up in the upcoming weeks. He is by far my favorite fighter to watch right now. I'm crazy about that kid. He's an awesome fighter.
There was a little slippage again in the corner. James Kirkman coming up on Friday Night Fights in 2 weeks, but obviously that blue corner where the ice and the water has been dripping down all night long can be a danger zone. Beltran utilizing that jab. That left hand seemed to stray a little bit low. He was warned in the 4th round about low blows.
And like Michael said, he got straight punches will serve these guys best. And there were 2 straight punches they landed. Straight punches. Beltran needs to get back to that jab. He has a very good jab. He needs to get back to that jab and establish it.
Michael Spinks also said that he'd like to see both fighters come back with their respective hooks at the ends of their combinations. And you see so many times that if you can just put the 3rd punch in there after these 1-2s, good things can happen. Yet to see a good solid hook out of these 2 tonight. But they seem to be more aggressive here as we dig deeper into this fight.
And a lot of that, Joe, goes with combination punches, combination punching, which is really hard. Some guys are naturally, put together punches together, but some guys have to work harder at it.
One punch at a time types. There's a fairly open left hook, but it did send Beltran off balance as Takalani scored there. He comes back with a sweeping right hand.
And he's timing Beltran. He's actually timing Beltran with the same punch over and over. A right hand. They're tough rounds to score, Joe, but both guys really digging deep. Great body shots.
Meeting each other punch for punch. Good little pop right jab there. Put 3 of them together from the Mexican southpaw.
Wireless.
Friday night fights in Tennessee, as is NASCAR's Sprint Cup Series at Bristol, presented by Pennzoil. Coverage starts at 7 Eastern with NASCAR Countdown. You got that, Shannon Briggs? 7 Eastern tomorrow when you get back to Florida.
That's right.
You're going to tune in a little NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
I love NASCAR.
Do you?
Yeah.
You a big couch potato on the weekends? You like sitting back watching sports?
You see how fat I am, don't you?
So that's your deal tomorrow. You can watch a little NASCAR coverage at 7 Eastern after I'll give you the winning horse for the Travers I'm broadcasting tomorrow. I'll write it down here on a piece of paper so you can go to your local OTB also.
You know I'm your biggest fan, baby.
There you go. Round 10 scheduled for 12. Recent world title challengers going at it here. Now at 126 pounds, Fernando Beltran and Takalani Ndlovu. Let's look at the punch track numbers that we can cook up for you. And these are the first 4 rounds versus the last 5 rounds. And remember the talking to that Takalani Ndlovu had. Well, he has stepped it up, as you can see, and thus taking the lead on Shannon Briggs' scorecard. And right there lands a pretty clean left hand coming off the ropes, is Takalani.
He's very impressive. He's being smart. He's fighting smart. He's watching what he has to do. He's watching his opponent closely. He's trying to take advantage of Beltran's mistakes, wide punches. You know, a lot of times, Joe, I see Beltran, he's repeating what he's doing. I think Takalani's catching on to that and is looking to counter.
Shannon's scorecard, and even last round. So even when Teddy Atlas leaves the seat, we still get even rounds judged from that analyst chair.
I'm telling you. You know, Joe, I remember years ago, I left the studio in Bristol, and you gave me a call, actually, the next day, and you said, Shannon, you got to start doing some broadcasting. I really appreciate that, and I look up to you, and I thank you for the many weeks that I've been here.
Oh, we've enjoyed having you, Shannon.
Well, you've really been much more than a mentor. You've been really a good friend, and I really appreciate it.
And then you hit the gym after you leave us. You're going to try to take off some weight?
Yeah, I'm going to take it.
In all seriousness, I mean, I know you joke around a lot about your size, but you're going to really try to get after it a bit.
Yeah, I'm a pig right now, but I'm actually going to get in the gym, look to lose 60 pounds and regain the championship of the world.
Would you like to take many of our crew with you, the Friday Night Fights crew who tours around the country?
Yeah, great guys. I need these guys.
Going from steakhouse to steakhouse.
Listen, I gained
now
like 20 pounds.
Straight months.
I gained like 20 pounds in the last 3 weeks just hanging with you guys.
Welcome to Friday Night Fights.
Rob, it's your fault.
Final minute here of round 10. Head-to-head they are. Takalani pulled up on that left hand. He was looking for the body shot. Able to block that left hand of Beltran. Now, who's willing to work on the inside? And it's Takalani who engages in a clinch. That right hand touched low, almost on the left hip of Ndlovu. Just missed with the short right, did Beltran. Now Takalani working a little more on the inside. And complaining of a low blow. Clay Huddleston is going to deduct a point. Remember, he gave a warning in round number 4, and now this could be extremely costly here in the 10th round. A very close fight that's been tightened up on the scorecards with the efforts of the South African, and now a point deduction here in round number 10.
And this was a round I actually was given to Beltran, so this will hurt.
It's not the left hand on the belt line, but watch the right hand from Beltran. There's the left hand on the belt line. Now watch this. That's the one that cost him right there in the 10th round, as referee Clay Huddleston was quick to come in and deduct a point against Fernando Beltran. 2 recent world title challengers, 2 guys that the IBF ranks in their top 10 at 122 pounds, now fighting at 126. Critical fight for both men if they want to continue on and hunt down another title shot. There's a left hand from Beltran, but that could be a costly error there.
Yeah, and that was a round, Joe, that I actually was given to him before the point deduction.
Good headshots here in the opening moments of this 11th round.
Beltran really trying to step up now and be more aggressive. He took a couple rounds where he let Takalani back him up, but this time he's pushing the pressure. And that was a great straight left hand.
Yeah, landed a very nice straight left hand, then sent one to the body. Now popping that jab just to lift up the head of Ndlovu. Let's look at Shannon Briggs' scorecard. And that last round you gave to Ndlovu, but with the point deduction, it becomes a 10-8. So now there's a wide margin for the South African, a fighter who was trailing after 4 rounds on your scorecard and in the eyes of his trainer, and he was told so, and he really turned things around.
Yeah, he did. Hopefully he's not going to fall back and coast off. But after that, you know, screaming match from his, actually was very calm the way he put it to him, but after being told he was behind on the scorecard, he really stepped up to the plate and put a lot of rounds in the bank.
If you were with us earlier in our co-feature, a fight that seemed to be clearly won by Harry Joe Yorgi over Jason Mahoulier ended up being a majority decision. There was one scorecard that was questionable, a draw. There's a right hand, good combination, finished off by the right hand by Ndlovu. In this fight here, 12-round fight, it's a different set of referees. Only one return, or judges, only one judge returns from that majority decision draw, and it was the judge, David Hudson, who had that fight 117 to 111, closest to being the most accurate score in our eyes.
Right.
And he is joined by Steve Weisfeld, who's a veteran judge of many world title fights for this main event. So the judging should be a little more on the mark here as both men pick up the pace here in the final minute of round 11.
Both guys scrapped and both guys digging in. And the crowd really behind this fight. This is a great town. I mean, they love boxing. I like this place a lot.
You think Nashville, you do not think pro boxing, but well supported here tonight for Friday night fights in a major NHL arena.
Exactly. They don't have a commission yet. They're borrowing another commission from Louisiana, I believe it is. But this is definitely a great arena for boxing. I'd love to come back here. If not fight, just watch boxing.
Headhunting from both men as we have come upon the final round, so let's listen in and hear what veteran Nick Durant offers up to Takalani and Ndlovu this time.
Listen, this is the last round coming. Tuck it. Tuck it. This guy's gonna come smoking. Hit him, 3-4 and move. Don't stand in there. And I don't want your Famula now. You want this title? Yes, of course. As he comes in, 3-4-5. Yeah. That's up. Hey. Don't stand toe-to-toe. Don't stand toe-to-toe. I don't want you on the ropes. As soon as you back up against the ropes, get out of there. Turn him around. Okay? You want this title? Yes. I want this round and I need this title.
And look at this. This is a good Takalani right hand, right on the button. And a nice left hook, right hand, that's the one. Right there, great right hand, right on the button.
Maybe the cleanest power punch of the entire fight.
3-4-5 and go.
3-4-5 and go, he says. Final instructions from Nick Durant.
Great sportsmanship again.
He said, don't stand toe-to-toe with Beltran. I don't want to see you on the ropes. Shannon's scorecard has Takalani and Ndlovu up 106-103. But remember, Beltran put away many of the early rounds, and so many of these middle rounds were close. If you're watching the punch track numbers and just watching the progression of momentum, you can lean Ndlovu. But were the judges on board for that thought in the middle rounds? Total punches, you see Beltran up 204 to 167. This is a fight that really could be going either way. Plus, you have the point deduction in the 10th round against Beltran.
And you can see the approach by both guys. Takalani's trying to box, like his trainer said, get off 3-4 punches and move. And Beltran's really trying to put the pressure on and look for something big. I think he needs something. I think he needs a big round, if not a knockdown, to at least pull out a win, if not a draw.
I think it could be close, Shannon. I think the first half of the fight clearly was Beltran, and then Ndlovu has come on clearly in the second half of the fight. But that point deduction could be so costly for the Mexican.
Definitely, Joe. That was big. I thought that Takalani really picked it up after the 4th round.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah, and Beltran is staying close. They're really tough rounds to score. Don't get me wrong. I think it would have served Beltran better to have used his jab and stayed on the outside. But he got into it, mixing it up, and Takalani got the better of those exchanges.
Oh, he gets out of that corner well with the right hand.
And that's the right hand that even Olympic scores would have caught that.
Maybe.
Exactly.
3 of the 5 judges could press the button within the same second, then just maybe it would have been scored.
Well, I know my cousin Brian Adams scored that.
Oh, he could. If we had the punch track Poppy Box guys, the Olympics would be better off.
Yeah, we're shipping Brian off to the next Olympics.
Good head hunting there. Ndlovu able to land the right hand. Beltran pressing forward, trying to find the elusive target. Now they trade lefts. Here they come. They're going to bring it home in style. You can just sense it. Such an important fight for both men.
Tough cut.
Who has more left? Who can give more in these final 10 seconds?
Tough round to score.
Beltran, much the aggressor here, though, throwing over 30 more punches in this final round, taking it right down to the final bell.
Wow.
That was a pretty good main event there.
Wow.
Got better as it went on.
That was great.
Real important fight for both men. Ndlovu and Beltran. In the 10th round, a low blow and a point deduction. Could it be the difference? This was it right here. We will hear from the judges when we return to Nashville. Stay with us. Little line dancing seminar here in Nashville at the Wild Horse Saloon. That's like Brian Kenny at Illusions in Wolcott, Connecticut on the weekends right there.
Really?
Taking the line dancing seminars. He'll tell you all about it. Just ask him. Just for Men, hair color, punch track fight recap, and a very well-balanced and solid main event between Fernando Beltran and Takalani Ndlovu. And you can see the total punches. Beltran with a 226 to 176 advantage. Shannon's scorecard's going to be a close one. Beltran came on at the end, but you favored the work in the middle rounds by Ndlovu. And keep in mind, the low blow, the point deduction. Critical fight for both of these former world title challengers. Which way did it go? We find out with Mike Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, in your main event of the evening, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Steve Weisfeld scores the bout 114 to 113. He sees it for Ndlovu. Judge David Hudson scores about 115 to 112. He sees it for Beltran Jr. Your third and final judge, Mark Streisand, scores the bout 115 to 112 for the winner by split decision. And now, the IBO featherweight world champion, Fernando Beltran Jr.
Viva Mexico!
Close fight indeed. Split decision goes for Fernando Beltran. Moves his record to 31-3-1. And Ndlovu, boy, he is not happy about that. 5th loss of his career now. But a good, solid main event. Both fighters putting forth a strong effort. Takalani and Ndlovu maybe got started just a little too late, but the point deduction did not cost Fernando Beltran. Shannon, thank you so much for being with us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Teddy Atlas is back next week. He'll be alongside Brian Kenny as I'm off to do a full season of college football. Ask you to join us next week for that. For now,
need help?
send it back. Yeah, come on along with me. Here is BK.